Big Bertha is a legendary pet bounty hunter who has a loyal companion called Hitpig. When he was a baby, the pig helped his owner recover cats, hamsters, snakes and any other kind of lost animal in exchange for money. The woman taught Hitpig everything she knew about the bounty business and trained him to be a great hunter. One day, the pair were offered $1,000 to go after a lizard, but when they got there, they discovered that the reptile in question was actually a crocodile with a gold tooth, and so Bertha was devoured. A few years after this tragedy, at a nuclear power plant, a weasel is forced down a tube to get to the plutonium room so that plant officials can test its radiation level after being exposed to the radioactive material. However, when he returns, Polecat takes the plutonium with him and throws the shiny stone at the scientists who forced him down there. At that moment, the weasel's body is contaminated and takes on a fluorescent pink glow. Excited by its new look, the animal flees just before a huge explosion destroys the plant. As he walks bouncily through the snow, Polecat sees a net passing right next to him and realizes that he has almost been hit. When he looks back, he sees Hitpig and has to dodge the second shot, as the pig has been hired to capture the animal. Just as he is about to be arrested, the weasel strikes back with his atomic gases and causes another explosion. Luckily, both Polecat and the pig make it out unscathed, so Hitpig has another chance to capture his target. Meanwhile, in Vegas, Pickles, a 3-ton elephant, debuts his newest dance show together with Leapin, his trainer. After suffering a few accidents on stage, the man lost all his status and reputation, but now that he's back, he promises to put on an unforgettable show. In the company of the poodles, Pickles begins his choreography and, during the dance steps, Leapin appears to take part in the show. However, during the performance, he runs over all the poodles and, while running to jump into the elephant's arms, the man takes a tumble. Instead of acknowledging his mistakes in performing that number, Leapin blames Pickles for not holding back and assures that he will make everything work on opening night. A few hours later, during dinner, Hitpig receives a new escaped animal alert and discovers that an animal rights activist has gone to a zoo to free a koala that was living in captivity. Immediately, the pig starts up his van and goes to meet Leticia and her koala, while Leapin, accompanied by his pet crocodile, locks the poodles and the elephant in their cells until showtime. After scouring the city looking for the koala, Hitpig manages to find him in a bar and the animal reveals that he had to run away to avoid being targeted by the children who frequent the zoo. At this point, the pig realizes that there is a lollipop stuck behind the animal's head and manages to remove it. Soon after, a man approaches and strokes the koala's fur, but it attacks him. When the marsupial throws the human out of the bar, a fight breaks out and all the customers start fighting each other. At that moment, the koala tries to run away, but is surrounded by Hitpig and the two start a duel. After being tricked by the pig, he revolts and throws his opponent out of the window with a kick. However, with the help of a nun, Hitpig captures his target and earns $10,000 as payment for all the animals he helped capture that month. When Leapin leaves the room, the janitor comes in to feed the animals and is frustrated at not being able to release them. At this point, Pickles hands the human a newspaper report about the work of Leticia dos Anjos, a woman responsible for freeing countless captive animals. That night, Leticia contacts Hitpig to try to convince him that his work is destroying the lives of dozens of animals, but the pig says that this is his business and his job is just to take them back home. During the call, the woman manages to hack into Hitpig's bank account and steals all the money he has accumulated to fund the animal cause. After taking the money, Leticia goes to meet Pickles and says that she will take the elephant back to India, where it should never have left. Before leaving, she says she'll be back to rescue the poodles soon and attaches Pickles' cage to the back of her car to take him straight to the airport. When he discovers that his elephant has been stolen, Leapin calls Hitpig and hires him to take Pickles back to the circus before the opening night of his big show. After being offered $1 million, Hitpig immediately accepts the job and, with the help of his computer, discovers that his Pickles is already on a plane on way to India. Before getting there, the plane stops in England and Pickles spots an elephant hologram coming from a building. At this point, the elephant decides to escape and takes to the streets in his cage. However, while crossing the street, he ends up being run over and manages to break free from the bars. Pickles then continues walking through the streets until he reaches the building and enters a dressing room with the aim of changing his look. Meanwhile, Hitpig arrives in London and starts looking for clues to the elephant's whereabouts. Just then, the pig arrives at the building where Pickles is and crawls through the pipes to find him. However, just as he is about to capture the animal with his gun, he gets up and runs out of the dressing room, feeling ready to perform. At that moment, Hitpig realizes that he is about to lose sight of his target and becomes desperate, so he runs after him to try to catch up. When he arrives on stage, Pickles spots several people dressed as elephants rehearsing for a performance that will take place that evening and decides to join the team of dancers without even realizing that Hitpig is trying to catch him. Excited to be among the other elephants, Pickles hugs one of the dancers and accidentally destroys his mask. At that moment, he realizes that he is facing humans and tries to escape, because it was humans who locked him in a cell for years. Frightened, Pickles runs around aimlessly and ends up destroying all the decorations in the amphitheater. When the curtain rises, the animal decides to hitch a ride and manages to reach the top of the building, where he finds the elephant hologram. Trying to touch it, Pickles destroys the projector and is enchanted by the beautiful view of the city. While the animal is distracted by the grandeur of those buildings, Hitpig approaches and ends up being mistaken for an elephant. At that moment, the pig sees an opportunity to fool Pickles, who immediately believes his words, since they both have similar nostrils. During the conversation, Hitpig claims to be Letitia's friend and says that she had to go and rescue another animal, so he asked him to take Pickles home. Suddenly, the pair start to slip and are about to fall off the building when the pig grabs his gun and swings across the city until he lands on the roof of a bus. Despite having managed to save himself, the pig is furious when he realizes that his gun is broken, but decides to continue with his plan and hitches a ride to the airport. Before catching his flight, Hitpig uses a wig and some clothes to pass himself off as a woman and, when he manages to get through security, he calls Lipin to break the news. What the pig didn't expect was that during the flight, while Pickles was going to the bathroom, Letitia would appear and the two of them would start throwing tranquilizer darts at each other. A few minutes later, they both completely lose their body movements and have to crawl across the floor to get around. Suddenly, while looking for a restroom that can accommodate him, Pickles pulls the lever used to open the emergency exit and several passengers are dragged out along with the elephant. When Hitpig was about to fall, Pickles managed to hold him up with his tail and Letitia tried to pull them back into the aircraft. However, the elephant ends up coming loose and the two animals start to free fall. Seeing Pickles holding one of the passengers' pantyhose, the pig has the idea of using it as a parachute and, thanks to it, they both manage to land safely. Furious, Hitpig blames the elephant for them being stuck in a junkyard in the middle of nowhere and, while the pig tries to think of a plan to get them out, Pickles makes friends with a mole. After selecting some old parts he finds in that warehouse, Hitpig starts building a vehicle to take them back to Vegas while Pickles and the mole have fun as if they were in a musical. In the morning, when he finally finishes building the vehicle made from the parts of a UFO, the pig calls Pickles to leave and, before leaving, they both say goodbye to Mr. Mole. During the journey, Pickles decides to press all the buttons on the vehicle's control panel, as he is curious to discover the function of each one. At this point, the elephant starts the turbines and the vehicle accelerates. During the journey, Pickles sees a balloon in the shape of an elephant a few meters away and brakes the vehicle sharply to get there. Once the animal is in the basket, the balloon takes off and Hitpig has to get into another balloon to reach it. However, when he tries to reach the elephant, he ends up falling, so Pickles jumps after him and they both end up in the chicken-shaped balloon. During the flight, the elephant says that he can't wait to get to India, as he was separated from his family when he was still a baby. Since then, Pickles has never had contact with any of his own kind and has spent most of his life locked up in a cage. Upon hearing this, Hitpig realizes the mistake he is making and feels heartbroken that he is deceiving someone who considers him a great friend. After a few hours of travel, the pair arrive in San Francisco, California and Hitpig uses an umbrella to pop the balloon, as they need to get off and return to Las Vegas. During the crash, the pair end up in a recording studio for a reality food show and Hitpig gets the chance to become a chef for a day. In one of his conversations with Pickles, the pig reveals that he likes to cook, so the elephant encourages him to take advantage of this opportunity. When he discovers that his friend has injured his arm during a fall, Pickles decides to help him and they both work together to prepare a delicious omelet. Moving on to the second stage, Hitpig discovers that he has to cook a lobster, but when he finds out that Louie is alive, the elephant tries to save him. While struggling to stop the lobster from being thrown into a pan of hot water, Pickles ends up destroying the whole set and Hitpig just hands over his omelet for the jury to try. Then, after the first bite, the man congratulates the competitor on his excellent work and the pig receives a trophy. At that moment, both Lipin and Leticia are watching the TV show and decide to go to San Francisco to meet Pickles. Suddenly, Hitpig receives a call from Lipin and says that he is going to pick up his dance partner and orders the pig to wait for him. But instead of doing that, Hitpig runs away with his friend and decides to tell him the truth. However, just as he is about to reveal his true intentions by going to London to meet him, the pig realizes that Pickles has already broken into a new building and is bathing in a bathtub. While Louie helps the elephant to rub itself down, Hitpig decides to take a nap and dreams about Bertha, his late business partner. This gives the pig a chance to vent about the moral dilemma he is facing and reveals that he doesn't know what to do. Although Hit Pig really wants the $1 million reward he will receive if he hands over the elephant, he doesn't want to take his friend back to the miserable life he used to live. When she hears this, Bertha says that she never worked looking for lost animals because of the reward. Her real goal was to help them return home, where they would receive all the love and care. At this point, the woman tells the story of how she met Hit Pig. According to her, one day she received a call from the owner of a bacon farm who wanted to hire Bertha to recover his escaped piglet. But when she found Hit Pig and saw how frightened he was, Bertha knew she couldn't give him back, because that little animal would have a sad end. That day, the woman decided to adopt him and, over time, the two became best friends. For Bertha, Hit Pig's company was her greatest reward and, after having this enlightening encounter with the old woman, the pig is woken up by Louie, who has gone there to warn him about the leak caused by Pickles. Frightened, Hit Pig goes up to the second floor to check that the elephant is all right and discovers that he never learned to swim because he didn't have a mother to teach him. Hearing this, the pig decides to pile up some objects to help his friend reach the opening in the ceiling, but Pickles can't reach it, so he uses his trunk to save his partner. Desperate to keep the elephant alive, Hit Pig spends the whole night swimming to the surface to get air and carry oxygen to Pickles. Meanwhile, Louie is still trying to open the front door and suddenly a letter carrier throws a newspaper at the glass, causing it to crack. At this point, the water pressure does all the rest of the work and the door bursts open, releasing all the water out of the store. As the water spreads, the two friends are swept away and end up in the middle of the street. Seeing Pickles unconscious, Hit Pig despairs and tries to wake him up, but the elephant doesn't respond. Just as the pig was beginning to lose hope, Pickles opened his eyes and the trio embraced. However, this moment is interrupted by the arrival of Leapin, who thanks Hit Pig for his excellent capture and hands him the reward money. Upon hearing this, Pickles feels confused, as he can't believe that his friend has been deceiving him for all this time. However, when questioned about the veracity of this story, Hit Pig confesses that he was actually hired to take the elephant back to the circus, but changed his mind on the way because he had become friends with Pickles. The pig then asks to Leapin take his money back and says he will take his partner to India. However, after discovering the truth, Pickles refuses to accept Hit Pig's help and decides to leave. When he realizes that the elephant doesn't intend to go back to Vegas, Leapin asks for help. Fluffy and the crocodile gets out of the car. When he sees it, Hit Pig realizes that the reptile has a golden tooth and immediately recognizes it as the monster that devoured Bertha. Terrified by the most painful memory of his life, the pig faints and Fluffy chases Pickles to force him into the cage. Minutes later, when Leapin and the elephant are well away from San Francisco, Leticia shows up and finds Hit Pig. After waking the pig up with numerous blows, the young woman discovers that Pickles has been taken away and Hit Pig offers to help Leticia free him. After taking the money he received as a reward, the animal walks towards his van and discovers that Leticia used the vehicle to rescue Polecat and the koala that Hit Pig captured. At this point, the animals have the chance to take revenge on the bounty hunter and Hit Pig is attacked. Now that everyone is even, the team decides to get together to rescue Pickles and, to ensure the success of this mission, Hit Pig enlists the help of Super Rooster, a cartoon superhero. To convince him to help with the rescue, Hit Pig offers him a payment of $1 million and Leticia is surprised to discover that the pig is willing to give up all his money to save Pickles. That night, when the elephant takes to the stage to begin the show, he is unhappier than ever, but he follows the dance steps that have been rehearsed. When the show starts, all the emergency exits are blocked and Hit Pig realizes that Leapin has turned the building into a rocket. During the countdown, the man orders the entire audience to fasten their seatbelts for takeoff and says that the show will be memorable. At that moment, the pig and his team get into the van to chase the rocket and enlist Super Rooster's help to increase the speed of the journey. After a few minutes of flight, the van begins to lose energy, so Polecat uses his atomic gases to refuel the system. When he reaches a certain point in space, Leapin decides to stop the rocket and, as they are out of orbit, the low gravity makes the man float. At this point, Leapin decides to continue the show and Pickles is forced to join him to entertain the audience. However, when he sees Van Hit Pig approaching and realizes that his friend has traveled into space to rescue him, Pickles leaves the stage and goes to meet him. Furious, Leapin orders Fluffy to devour that pig while he goes after the elephant. When he gets into the rocket, Hit Pig comes across the crocodile, but the koala says he can handle it and buys time for his companion to free Pickles. However, while the pig is trying to open the handcuff, Leapin drags him away and Polecat decides to mediate the two duels. On one side, a fight is taking place between a crocodile and a koala and, on the other, a human against a pig. During the battle, the poodles, who have nothing to do with this story, also end up being affected and, after hitting them, Fluffy tries to devour. Seeing the monster that eliminated Bertha floating towards him, Hitpig uses his weapon to hit it and ends up causing an accident. When the van Leticia is in decouples from the rocket, Leapin and his crocodile are sucked out and start floating aimlessly through space. Then all the animals that were on stage also start to be dragged towards the hole and Pickles gets stuck. Since he can't breathe, Hitpig faints and his friend can't hold him up. Just as the pig is getting away from the rocket, Super Roosters appears and takes him back to the van. Just then, the koala helps Pickles to disengage and the vehicle docks with the rocket again. Now, the team's next challenge will be to get everyone back to Earth. But with Polecat's atomic gases and Super Rooster's strength, this mission is made easier. In just a few minutes, the rocket passes through the Earth's atmosphere and is about to hit the ground when Hitpig opens the parachute on his van and manages to prevent it from falling. Upon returning to the planet, the audience is released from their seatbelts and everyone stands up to applaud the memorable spectacle. When the crowd leaves, Hitpig says it's time for everyone to go home and Leticia invites the koala to go to Australia with her. As for Polecat, Super Rooster says he will introduce him to some producers and, if all goes well, the weasel will be the next Hollywood star. Louie, on the other hand, decides to stay in Las Vegas and the janitor takes responsibility for looking after the poodles from now on. After taking Pickles to India, Hitpig returned to the United States and opened a trailer to sell his delicious omelets. A year later, the elephant returns to visit his friend and reveals that he hasn't been able to find his family. So Pickles decides to go back to Vegas and discovers that Hitpig and Leticia are now working together. With the help of their other friends, the pair rescue helpless animals and now welcome Pickles as another member of the team. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.